Okay, well, welcome to the Wakanda Quarterly Update. It's January 2014 edition. Ricardo, do you just want to say hello so we make sure we've got you? Oh, hold on. I think. Let's try that again. Ricardo, are you there?
Hello.
Okay, there's Ricardo. Let's start this again.
Hello, Greg. I'm in.
Okay, so Wakanda Quarterly Update, January 2014 edition. We've got the main man of the show, Ricardo Mello, with us, and my name's Greg McCarvell. We'll be going through all the latest and greatest with Wakanda. You know, the thing with quarterly updates is that things change and move so much. We're generally right to the wire preparing these presentations so that we can give you the most up-to-date information. A couple things to mention up front is there is a question mechanism through the GoToWebinar software. If you have questions, we will be doing about a 15-minute question and answer period at the end. Feel free to leave those questions at any point. Sometimes while Ricardo's presenting, I can answer questions behind the scenes and lessen the number of questions we need in the question and answer. So let's get started with no further ado. Let's do a quick overview. We've got a great audience here today. This is one of the things we're going to be covering. A lot of momentum with the platform right now. So there's probably new people here. We need to do a quick overview of what exactly Wakanda is. So Wakanda is a full JavaScript stack. And when we say full stack, a lot of technologies talk about just the server side between the database and your scripting language. We actually are taking this from the database through the server side language. So you're scripting or programming in JavaScript on the server, and even out onto the client side, we're doing web standards. So everything is familiar to you if you have a background in web design, and we provide some great tools to help you if you're new at that as well. So you can see here it includes a data store, a web server. So it's a fully integrated industrial grade web server. You can serve up static files or dynamic content. We have a browser framework that includes some widgets and a data transport layer. And we do offer a free studio, and that's a very unique part of our product. Normally the studio with a design product is a fee. We're providing that for free at this point. It's a complete solution, so you can develop for mobile and desktop. And I think Ricardo is going to touch on an exciting feature we've got coming for native mobile as well. And you can certainly learn more. We've got a lot of documentation. The main website is wakanda.org. I'd invite you to go there. We've got a lot of free training, a lot of documentation to help you get started quickly. So today's topics, I'm going to do a quick business overview, cover the topics related to the business of Wakanda. I've been developing an example that a lot of people have been interested in about building a multi-tenant application on Wakanda. So we'll go through that. Ricardo's going to talk about widgets and the widget architecture. This is going to be a big topic for Wakanda 8. I'm excited to hear what he's going to be showing us today. He'll also be going through our enterprise version and showing you, I think, a demo on some of the connectors for alternate databases if you need to integrate with previous systems. Ricardo will do an informal discussion of some more future-looking planned features. So these are, we're not going to be giving time commitments or versions, but these are sort of the features that we have in the hopper and we've committed to, and we want to share with you what our plans are going forward. And then we'll do the live question and answer session. So let's do a business overview. It's going to be a very exciting quarter, maybe two. You need to be patient. But I can tell you we've got major news in all the key areas. We've got major news in the business side. We have major news on the training front, services, and product. So it's going to be a big, big first half of the year. I would say more, but the marketing department would not like that. So we'll keep it under wraps. But all I can say is we've got a lot of momentum. I'm seeing a lot of people with major projects being developed in Wakanda, and I think we're just now getting over that cusp where there's going to be some momentum, and we'll start seeing a lot more interesting projects coming out in the public space. It's the best pace I've seen since I started with Wakanda, which was back right after version 1 was released. And I also noticed with Wakanda 7, I've been working with it quite a bit. I've noticed the product quality is way up. So I wanted to just give a shout out to the QA department and say thank you very much. We really appreciate how steady studio's getting, but certainly encourage them to keep it up, and we want to have a rock solid product. So I guess the way I would sum it up is now is not the time to nap. I'd dig in, really invest in the product. The more you know about it, the more quickly you'll be able to grasp these new features and integrate them into your business and have success. The other thing I wanted to mention was professional services. Obviously, we remain totally committed to community involvement. We are, if you've been in the forums, you know that we have team members who are quite active, helping people get through any glitches or misunderstandings they're having while learning the platform. But I know different people have different businesses, different abilities. I wanted to also mention that we do offer both development and deployment support. If you want top tier tech support that's very timely, very thorough, I'd take a look at those options. They are obviously a paid service, but we've got all our pricing and specifics on the website. Option 2 is on a case-by-case basis, we can provide you talent and source out qualified developers to help supplement maybe your team. Or if you're a business person listening in, I've made an effort to develop a list of developers who know what they're doing, and I'd love to put you in touch with them. So if you are a Wakanda developer and you're making this, a business that you are looking to expand, do contact me. I'd love to add you to that list. The email there is wakanda@wakanda.org. I would recommend you mention your country of origin, because we do have a regionally specific business where we have different representatives that will help you more thoroughly depending where you're from. So again, if you are a Wakanda developer who would like to be introduced to clients, please contact us. And likewise, if you are looking for additional professional services, certainly get in touch and we can hook you up with the right people. So I'm going to go through a multi-tenant example. So we're going to build one app to service many clients. This has been talked about in the forum quite a bit lately, and I'll show you my GitHub account. It's on there. It's quite easy to put into Studio. But I'm going to just go through it verbally first. The main concerns we had was people wanted one application that has many accounts. So each account could register and create users within that account. And each account has an exclusively sandboxed view of data. So you're using the same application, segmenting your data and making sure that it's completely secure so that there's no cross-account contamination with the data. So we've got each user can only work within that account sandbox. And then perhaps we're going to even get into having permissions within an account for each user, perhaps, the different levels of CRUD. Depending on the user permissions. So this is one approach you could take. There are a ton of different ways you could build a multi-tenant application, and this is really something I'm hoping will just spark conversation, bring everybody's best practices to the table, and I'm sure there's a number of different ways you can do it. I've specifically tried to be as understandable and straightforward as possible. There are some aspects that I probably could have done a little more elegantly, but intentionally I've kept it to an intermediate level, I would say. So I've designed it in Wakanda 7 using Studio, and what I really thought I wanted it to be was something that you could start from. So you clone it from GitHub, and use it as a skeleton to then build your application. I would verify all the code. Right now, you'll see the commits. I've been working on it last night, so it's really raw. Definitely validate it, and it needs attention as far as error handling and that type of thing goes. I'm trying to comment the code as heavily as possible as well. So let's do a quick demo of the application. I'll just get out of this slideshow, and I'm going to open up. I've got it here on my desktop. If you want to clone it, it's github.com/McWakanda, and in my repositories, got multi-tenant base. So there's the URL there. You can just put that in right from Studio and clone it directly. I'm going to just go off the desktop here. So where is Studio for me? Hold on one second, I've got it hidden behind some windows. There we go. Okay, so let me just close a bunch of these tabs. And I actually am just going to start the server. I think I've got it going. So we'll open another browser window, and I'm going to bring up the application. So what I have right now working is you can register a new account, or you can log in an existing user. So I'm just going to do account 1. We'll do user 1-1 for account 1, and I'll always just do the password hello. So I'm going to register here, and you can see that I've got I'm working on a user management section here. I've got roles and groups working, and I'm going to add a little bit of data here. So this will be account 1, data 1. I'll add another one, account 1, data 2. I'm going to add a new user. So we'll go user for account 1, but this is the second user. Same password. So I've created a new user. So let's log out, and you'll see if I log in as user 2, so user 1-2 with hello, you'll see that I'm sharing the same data. So we'll log out. I'm going to register a second account. So this would be account 2, and I'll do user 2 for account 2, 1, and hello, register. And you'll see here it's filtering. We're not seeing any of the data from the first account. I'll add account 2 data. Okay, so if we now log out, log in, user 1-1, we have all the account 1 data. So that's essentially what I've got going. Most of what's happening here is server-side. I didn't spend a lot of time on the UI yet, and probably I won't. But I wanted to show you just basically where I'm at with the application, and we'll go through some highlights now. So back to the slideshow. So the first thing I wanted to point out was how I organized the project. I think it's important that you know where to look when you're going through. I'd invite you obviously to download it and take a look for yourself. So at the solution level, we've got required.js. This is where your login logic is. So the placement of this file is important. You want it at the solution level. I've done a bootstraps folder. So every file inside of here is a bootstrap. Right now I only have one, and the only thing in it is my set login listener. And what that does is it tells the application where this login function is. So you can go into this file and see all of the login logic that I've done. I've put salt in there. It's a custom login, etc., etc. The model folder, I just have been using the Visual Designer, Model Designer, and these files are how the model editor suggests or prompts you to save. So this is, I'd say, when you put JavaScript related to your model, keep it nicely organized in these folders. The way that it does it by default, I'm quite comfortable with, and I think it's a good method. So that's what I would recommend. Model.js, if you open this up, you'll see that these files from the model folder are included in this model.js. These are generated files again. Sorry. I created a scripts folder in the server side. And the main file that I would point here is required.js. This is executed by default when you start your server. And within there, I've included 3 files. App.js, this is the main file where my functionality works. I've created a global app object in there, and you'll see a ton of helper functions. This is where I'm able to create very clean code in other areas of my application because I put a lot of functionality in here. App underscore errors and app underscore text. I'm keeping all of my error strings and error objects and generating those in here. I've tried to set it up that I'll be able to do multiple languages going forward, and text is going to be labels and alerts for the client side. Further down, the web folder obviously is the public folder where it's a web server basically, so everything's available through the browser here. App is the page you see after you log in. The components folder is going to house all of my web components, and the index page is the registration page. I do have some custom client-side JavaScript as well, and I've kept those files in this JavaScript file. So I'll give you a brief overview, just looking through the project. The main ones I wanted to show you was the generated files here. So we've got, say for instance, user events, and where I've done work here is on validate and on restricting query. So if you see here, the way that I'm restricting the query to the accounts is done in the app.js under get read collection. So I'm going to go to scripts, app.js, and get read collection right here. So this is the logic I go through. I've made it as generic as possible to work with any model. You can see, so I would, when you're looking for functionality in the application, this is a good place to start. In the model, the key element here is you want to have an account entity for each data class that you want segmented by account. And this is the attribute that the restricting query uses in order to filter those down. So we can go to, again, on restricting query, and your logic's right there. So for each piece of data that you're segmenting by account, it's just basically this one line here will do all the logic, keeps it clean, keeps it nice and straightforward. So that's all I'm going to say about this application. I'd encourage you to keep an eye on it on GitHub. I hope it's helpful to you. Any suggestions you have, by all means, feel free to get in touch with me and I can incorporate those. So that's all I have for today. With no further ado, Ricardo, are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
That's great, Greg. That's a great example.
Okay. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
I'm going to send the presenter over to your screen.
Okay, that works. Let me just get used to this. So send me. Okay, should I expect something? Because
you should have gotten
an invitation or something.
I'm going to do it again.
Okay. It should pop up something on my screen.
I think you were logged in under Fred.
No, Ricardo Mello.
Okay.
That's why.
Oh, sorry, I missed a pop-up.
There we go.
There you go.
Show my screen. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All
So
right,
take it away, Ricardo.
let's go. So, Greg did a great introduction, and especially on the excitement that we have right now through the whole community, and a lot of nice inputs from Wakanda, from the Wakanda environment. A lot of companies contacting us with incredible projects. So this year, it sounds like it's going to be the 2014 year of Wakanda to really increase our market share. We just had recently a company introducing 300 servers with Wakanda. That was fantastic. So we're quite excited, and I want to keep you in that excitement through the widgets, because it's a key part of our strategy. And today I'm going to show some little details of the widget cycle, and I am planning to build a full widget with you right now here. So we're gonna, and since the forum, we had a lot of people asking us to do a widget with a nice third-party library. I got the library called JQX Widgets, and it's a very well-known library. And we're going to build like a combo box. Actually, it was built by one of our developers, Stéphane Puy-Barreau. And we are going to go through that code. But also, I want to mention that in Wakanda 7, you will have the one-click creation. So your widget, it's through the studio, you're going to be able to create your empty widget or your basic widget directly from the studio. That's it's a detail, but for us very important. If you are here since the beginning of Wakanda or from the last versions, you know that our components were not so modular, and now we're becoming very modular with the introduction of the whole concept of packages and the Wakanda 6 that brought to us the WD2, which is our Wakanda Dynamic Delivery System of libraries and packages. And because of that, we are also externalizing the place where we are putting our components. So now, basically, all your components are documents Wakanda, and then you have widgets, you have themes. We are going to have very soon extension as well. So that's pretty excited. So we're creating an environment where people can share way easier the widget. Just to give an example, let me call a Wakanda page. So this, you guys know already Wakanda. So basically I go new and the custom widget, or I can go straight widget here and new custom widget. I give a name, my basic first widget. I create, and in the folder we're going to have my basic first widget here with every single file that I need to start to use. Okay, so the basic structure we already have passed through. There's the last webinar we talk about that. I don't need to go into details, but basically you have a designer, which is your definition inside the studio, your widget.js, which is your runtime, and the package.json that defines the libraries that you're going to import. We're going to touch every single one of those guys in the demo that we're going to do, so don't worry too much about it. But the nice concept is, right now, if I want to add a widget, I can just create right away and start to use it in the studio. So that's a great thing. So my basic first widget is already here. I can drag to a page. I can style. It doesn't do much right now, so it's just an empty widget, but I can style and execute my widget. Okay, so that's the first concept that I want to mention to you guys, because it's important to understand that it's easy to create. And now it's basically, if you drop a folder, a widget folder, in the place we just mentioned, and your user documents Wakanda widgets, that widget is available for you. Okay, but we went one step further, and that's, I'm very excited to show to you guys, because that's, if you feel that's too simple, that will be my victory. But basically we create an extension, because now, since the widgets are basically a folder, that you can connect, that you can add all your code and your libraries. And you can share that on GitHub. And we in Wakanda, we have one account called Wakanda Package. Inside we have the widgets, a repository, and there you can submit your widget to us. So we create an add-on extension that goes to our GitHub repo and install automatically the widget for you in Wakanda. So I am planning to distribute that because this add-on will be available not for Wakanda 8, but will be available as soon as Wakanda 8 stabilization channel is delivered through our main channel, the development channel. Okay, so you're going to be able to download this extension. I'm planning to release in the forum as well, and use with your Wakanda 8 as a beta test. So, and the biggest advantage, it makes the installation in the studio completely flawless and easy. So let's see how that works. So you're here in the studio, and you have now a new icon here, which is called add-ons. If I click, it's going to connect to the account, the Wakanda account, and it's going to show to you that now I have themes, I have widgets, and I have extensions all available for you straight from my GitHub account. And for example, if I go to widgets and I search, I need a gauge, there, a gauge, there you go, gauge is there, I can read that, and I can just ask to install. As you know, here in this area, the widget section, I have all my widgets folder. I don't have right now the gauge. So I'm going to install the gauge. Sorry, I'm pronouncing in French. So I install it, and is installed, and you see my gauge is installed right away there and is ready for use. So this mechanism is probably going to change a lot how you think about widgets and Wakanda, because as you can see, and we're going to see today, to import a library or to create widgets, and with the explosions of libraries, JavaScript libraries that we have in the web right now, we can in fact turn to be the best place to anybody connect their widgets, because Wakanda is made to, we are doing an architecture that makes the connection with the data really easy, as we're going to see it. So we can become an ocean of new widgets every month. If the community starts to jump in and starts to create, if we provide to them the mechanism, and you guys are going to see that the mechanisms are going to be in place, and then the documentation, we have really big hopes that together we can be the best framework for widgets in the market. So what else do I want to see? Let me show you also this. Now my gauge is installed, right? So, but if I go through the list, I can see that my QR, which is another widget, needs to be upgraded. And I can see as well that, well, I have another one Wakanda ratings, which is installed and is right here and is up to date. So that's going to be valid for extensions and themes and everything. For example, if I have a theme and I'm going to close this window right now just to give an example because I already downloaded them. But I'm going to, for example, delete my mobile theme. I'm going to move to trash. Okay, I'm gonna forget this page because every time that I change here, that's Impact Day Studio. He asks you if I want to discharge or if I want to keep this. If I'm going to keep unsaved and just having a blank page. Okay, so now I don't have anymore my Wakanda mobile team, which is a new team developed from one of our integrators, Olivier Mobili. And now I'm going to install. I'm going to just do the process again, just so you guys understand how easy it is. Well, my Wakanda mobile is already detected that there is nothing here, and I'll be able to install. I can install it. My Wakanda mobile is installed there. Perfect. I'm going to, since it's a mobile, I'm going to start the smartphone page. Have a smartphone page. As you can see, my Wakanda mobile is right here, already uploaded for me. I can, let's drive some, I don't know, just, I mean, I'm just doing something just to show you that my theme, my current theme is Cupertino. If I change to Wakanda now, I have my Wakanda mobile theme already ready for me. So for widgets and themes, this is the and extensions. That will be the way that we're going to move forward. So delivering on GitHub, independent from our releases. Anybody can contribute. Automatic installation through the studio through a nice sweet interface that is going to give you some information. Also, actually, I didn't show you that, but if you click information, you go straight to the page of the person that developed it, which is going to be a good promoter for good developers. So I'll go back to Wakanda. And that's pretty much for the extension. And if you think it's very easy, that's exactly what we want you to feel. It's like very, very solid and easy to install a new widget, a new theme, and in Wakanda from the version 8 on. So I'm going to just forget this page. I don't need this page right now. And I think it's time for us to build a widget. So what I'm going to do to make it easy, no, save, that's fine. What I'm going to do is, let me see the best way to do this. Yeah, I have a sequence of code that I'm going to show you. But before, let me just give you an overview of what we have done. Sorry, there. Our widget, the advantage of you bringing a third-party library or creating your own widget is that you're going to see that we made the biggest effort for you to profit from this business logic that you have on the server side and the whole connection with the database and the data sources. So that's the key component for us in Wakanda, this magic that happens when you define your model, you think about data, we have developers now, especially from the web, starting to think about data in a much more serious way, and you have this type of developer that's already creating models and their whole logic in the server side. And it would be nice if we have a widget that can just hook it up with that, and also that widget have the ability to give you ways to customize your widget in the studio as well. So for us, the widget is this component that is in between runtime and studio that makes data binding very easy, and it can connect and send events, or it can communicate with other elements in the page in a very easy way. So we did pretty much the data source binding, the observable, which takes care of all the events, the state modification, and the studio integration with basically one property. You're going to see that we have a property that accepts some parameters, and you can basically configure and set up your widget very nicely with basically one property. So if I say widget add a property and I give a name color, so then I get automatically, because we have a system of in place that inherit from many behaviors. So we have some behaviors that are automatically inherited by the widget. So as soon as you add a property, you have the getter, the color, as you can see here. You can change the value if you want, or you can make it observable by defining your own change value. And as soon as you have done your add property, also you automatically, that's very important, and that's very easy to bind your data source automatically. If you did add property, when you see your widget in the studio, you're going to see that your widget has a color source and a color value. So if you drop the data source here, if you write the data source here, it will do the binding for you automatically. All the behind the scenes are dealt by the framework. Another example, add property. I give a name to the property, and I define as a type data source, okay? And I define two attributes. So this is going to automatically create in my studio a source, an item. It's going to be divided by, it's going to have on top item, and then the source of item is going to be my source, which is a data class, and my attribute value is going to be attribute 1 from my data class, and label is going to be attribute 2. So in that way, I can code my widgets internally, completely agnostically from my data source. Doesn't matter what data source I connect to this widget, I will just define what is the name of the data source and what are the map between the fields that I use inside my widget to the fields of data source. So inside my widget, I use value and label, and then value is attached to the attribute 1 of my source data class, and label is attached to attribute 2 of my data class. I hope that's clear for you guys. And since it is a data source, I can just inside my widget say on collection change, give me the values, and I will treat the values. Also very powerful. So the widget that we're going to work today is going to use both. It's going to use this one that I just showed to you, which is a string definition directly, or a valued type of definition, and also a data source. Okay. So just to make clear again, here I still can bind this property to a data source. The difference is here I'm really defining inside my widget what are the relationship between my data source. I hope that's clear. So we are going to try to use JQX combo box, which is an external library, and there is many features of this library. Okay, when I read to the documentation, and I'm not gonna, we don't need to go right now through the documentation, but it has many things. It's a combo box that it can have lists, it can have a select value, it can have the actions of open and close, it can have custom items, which is very interesting. Then you can, in every line of your combo box, you can add an image and a title and a little text under. You can customize as you wish. It's like an HTML type of feature. It has item grouping and other options that are available for this widget. I decided to implement now for just for us to test this for one. We're gonna have a combo box that works, that you can select a value, you can open and close, and you can customize items. So this example that I'm mentioning that has lines which images and titles and a little text will be possible. Okay. Let me just go to the first step. So one of the first steps when you were importing a library is to understand the library. Get to know the library to a point that you know that there's no malicious code, and you were okay with their license and everything. But also, it's important to understand that sometimes libraries get conflict and get incompatibilities in the studio or at runtime. So some libraries, they have a mechanism, and it's nice. If you look for widgets and if you look to other libraries, it's always interesting to spot that some libraries give you the mechanism to isolate. This example, JQX, the JQX bundle, utilizes jQuery 10, I think, and in Studio we are jQuery 1.7. which it's one of the plans for this year to migrate to the latest jQuery. But, well, my widget uses a different library, which is a different version. So jQuery has this method, which I can use, and it guarantees to me that in my widget I will use the jQuery 10, 1.10, and for the rest of my framework I'm going to still stay with 1.7. So that, let me show you the package.json. The package.json comes, the here is the two libraries that I need to, oops, I did something wrong, sorry. You have the jQuery that needs to be imported and the JQ widgets, core and buttons and scroll bars, everything that the combo box need, including their CSS. I can import that directly through my package.json. I create a little library folder on the side, and I can just implement that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch. So I'm going to go through a code editor for us to, I think that's going to be too small. Let me just grow a little bit for you guys. This thing. That's going to be better. I'll do that every single page. So when I create my widget, in Wakanda now widgets are created as a module, so that's why you have this this definition. And we create the widget for you if you give the name JQWix combo box. We create with that basically library. Sorry, actually this is not there. That's all this when I put this sign is where I'm adding something. So the basic library comes with just that and that. Okay, which basically creates the widget inherit from our architecture and then creates the JQX combo box based on our architecture and then returns the widget. I added exactly what I mentioned to you guys, that to guarantee that my JavaScript will not, my jQuery will not create problems when I import our 1.10 library. Okay, second step. Okay. You have the init. So my widget, it has a init module, and I read and I looked in the documentation for the JQ widgets, and they tell me that all I need to do is to create a node, and then in our framework, this has the connection to the widget, and node is where we store the DOM node. So I give a little variable to my node, and then I do my empty combo box. Okay, so basically what I did is I add in my folder, I add all the JQ widgets libraries in my package.json, and I add this non-conflict, and I just create the node and call the library as they asked me to do in their documentation. So I'm going to go and switch to Wakanda now. And I have, if I get this page. So I have here, I did some, I already prepared a demo one. So this demo one, as you can see, I'm going to show you the code. It's basically what we just said. Okay, so you have the non-conflict, you have the import of our architecture, and then I just call the JQ widgets and say build up a combo box. Of course, at this point it doesn't do much, but let's see if I can already use that. So I can just go to JQ combo box demo 1. I drop down there, and I have a combo box already. Apparently it doesn't do much. I have an element here from a different world. Okay, I save. If I run right now this page, I have my combo box there. As I mentioned, it doesn't do anything, but because my combo box is already functional. I didn't do much code. I need to kind of adapt a little bit more to have something operational. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to my example. It was just really to give you the sense of the first demo. Let's go for the second part. So the second part, I don't need this page anymore. Okay, the second demo. Let's add some fun to display to this widget. So what I'm going to add now is the ability is a property. So I'm going to add to my widget a property in the first place, and I'm going to decide what property my widget needs. At this point, I would like to have my widget connect to a data source and define a value and label. Okay, so as soon as I add this code here, which just add the property source with data source, type data source, and type data source, sorry, and name, value, and label. And I add as well the collection change because it is a data source. So when that source changes and the page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my node, my JQ combo box node, and for every element of my database, I'm going to add a JCombo box item and the library. If you read the documentation, just say do the simple command and with your element, and we'll add to you to the combo box the element. That's great. I'm going to also create. I'm going to adding one more, which is the value. Value is the value that's going to be exported if I need, and if it changes, I will just on my node, if that value change, I will just update the widget value with the node value, and that syntax here is exactly what JQ widgets say to me that I need to type when I need to get the value stored in the node. So pretty straightforward. And if now I show to you just with adding those two properties, okay, if we go back to Wakanda and let me actually create, I'm gonna do a new page, okay, and as you're gonna see that combo box 2, it has basically the same code that I just showed you. Just to review, we added the property items. Oh, sorry, I added also the HTML. Okay, in this example here, I have also the HTML. HTML is what we mentioned before, that the widget accepts an HTML form, which will define the HTML inside each element of my combo box. The property value, I have the change when the values when the value change, and I have the change when the collection change. So if I try to use this widget right now, which is already a little bit more sophisticated. So I have my widget here. And on the right side, you're going to see that the Studio created automatically. I just add those two properties. For the property value, it already put it here, the source. I can bind to a data source, or I can just give a value straight to the element. And for the items, the items, I can just now drag, for example, this. I have a data class already prepared, which everything that I need with code name, image description group, and that HTML, which is a calculated field that just bind up together all the image and name and code. So I can just grab the data class and drop straight to my widget. And it's going to ask me, do you want to add this to the items or to the value? I say, no, this is the items, okay? I'm defining my items, and actually my attribute value, let's say, let me check it out here. Let's say that is code. My attribute name, label is going to be name, HTML is the same name as HTML. Okay, so now I'm mapping. I'm saying to this widget, now you have a data source, and inside your code, when you see you're going to receive a list of all the code name and HTML of my data class, I already map it to you to your internal values, to your value label and HTML. Sorry, I'm repeating value because value is one of the attributes. Okay, so if I do that and I save and I run, I have a a widget that's already working because I have some data in my data class in my database. So my widget is already working. I can select an item. Very good. So let's go one step further. Let's go one step further. Now, sorry. Now, what I want is to already sophisticate even more my widget and add some, sorry, there. Is there where I was or the other one? Okay, just to have the open and close functionality. I just add open and close in this way. Just have in my widget the ability to just type the name of my widget, open and close, and that will call the JQX combo box and open or close. And I'm going to add as well. Well, here is where I add the HTML, right? So it was further on the line. I'm sorry, but you guys got the idea. But what I'm going to add to the code as well, which was not added before, is like when I see the HTML, instead of rendering straight the element, I'm going to see the HTML is undefined. I'll give the label. Otherwise, I'll give the HTML. Okay. And then to finish, I'm gonna also get autocomplete because my JQ widget accepts autocomplete, and I'm gonna define a property autocomplete, and this property has a type Boolean, which is just yes or no, right? And I'm going to say bindable false because it doesn't make much sense to bind a data source to a type Boolean in this case. And you're going to see what that's going to bring to you in the final widget. I'm going to show you. And also I'm passing that to the node. See here, when I create my node for the first time, I'm just saying before it was just the source. Now I'm going to say as well autocomplete. Just get this autocomplete and put it in. And also what I'm going to do as well, there is another thing that I can do with this widget, which is the search mode, which is a type enum. You guys are going to see the effect on it creates a list where you can choose. And then it has like, this widget accepts to use starts with, ends with, contains, and stuff like that, with bindable false as well. So basically, my widget is done. Okay, we pass it through the process. I'm gonna just now use the real stuff, the real widget. Let me just close this one too. We don't need that anymore. I'm just create a brand new page. New page. That's called final. Let's create a page, and now I'm gonna drag my final widget, which is the JQX combo box. I'm going to drag it there. My widget's there. To make things more interesting, let me just also drag a text input so we can see how that's gonna, not just a text here. Okay, I'm gonna customize a little bit, design style. Let me just put that as, I don't know, probably gonna be too much. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna also, okay, then the text inputs is there. Let me use another custom widget, a barcode. Barcodes, yeah, that sounds interesting. A barcode here, okay? Now I'm gonna bind everything together. So, as you can see, well, in my text here, I'm gonna create something really easy in Wakanda, and I'm say code bar. Code bar, I'm gonna create a local data source just by doing that. So, this text is bind it to code bar, which, as you can see, created a single data source here. I'm going to also get my barcode and get in my binding the same code bar. Okay, the same code bar. Perfect. And in my combo box, I'm going to drop, as we saw it, blue data class 1 inside. I'm going to define as items. I'm going to choose. I'm going to define the attributes as we defined it before. Let me just do it now. Code, name, and HTML. Okay. And also in my value source, I'm going to say code bar. So all three widgets are connected to code bar. So when I change the value, the main value of my widget, all three widgets should be updated, right? So let's see how that goes. I save, I run. So first, notice I have already a widget that has HTML. The HTML format is already there. I'm loading the image, I'm doing a title, and I'm doing a little string, a little text under, okay? And when I choose, oh, look at that. This is updated. And my code bar as well, my barcode, sorry, is updated as well. So I have 13, so I move to 11, I have 11, and so you guys have an idea. I also can, I didn't show you, but if I click here now, I have also the autocomplete, right? That we just saw. Let me open here instead of the other editor. Let me just show you that. As you guys remember, the autocomplete was just a property that I added. That is a type Boolean and was bindable false. So the type Boolean becomes a little thing that you can select or not. And yeah, that's all. It is not bindable. That's all I want to show. So what else I put that was nice? Oh, the search mode. Remember that I mentioned as well that we had here. I created another property that's called search mode. That's the type enum. And enum, it's a list of values and attributes that gives you a list. So I can define that contains. So my search should be now that contains. So if I say something here, let's say, I don't know, 1, well, I finds already the first one, I think 14 for me. So that's the widget, that's the demonstration. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's for us, it's for us a game changer. We are putting a lot of effort to give you this full cycle. Notice that we are not talking about just creating some widgets. We're talking about a full cycle that is developing, releasing to GitHub, installing automatically through our studio. And also, I didn't show you guys that it's going to be available as well. You're going to be able, for example, I'm going to go to my barcode, right? So I'm doing my widget here. And I don't want to test my widget straight to my page. I would like to have an environment where I can debug a little bit more my widget. So you're going to have that. So probably not in Wakanda 8 yet, because we need more tests on that line, and we want to make it better. But right now, for example, if I run here this this widget, it would, instead of run in the page, in the Wakanda page, it is one Wakanda page, but instead of adding to my Wakanda page inside the studio, it will be run outside. So I can customize things and say, and work a little bit with my widget and see if it is working the basic things of my widget. I just changed the size for 200. It just changed. And the advantage is, like I have my my console here, which I can play with my widget now, because, for example, I know, oh, good, I have already the thing done here. I know that my widget, as you can see, I'm instantiated here for you as a widget 1. So I can just come here as a normal jQuery and say widget one value. Let's change. Let's see if the value is working. So I would just put pop up some value, and I'll just execute, and my widget would change on the top. I don't know if you guys notice. I'm going to change another time. Watch out, the widget on the top is going to be changing to the barcode. So I have a way to debug and to get better with developing widgets. And after for our experience, we are doing a lot of internal tests right now with our own teams, and we do like little hackathons of creating widgets. And we are starting to notice that we're trying to fine tune so the community can really jump in and turn us to be the best place for widgets on the planet. Well, that's all I have. Greg, are you still there, or
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
here,
sleeping?
Ricardo. So
All
I
right.
did do a quick little poll there,
Yeah.
asking people if they wanted to run a little longer, if you had extra to share, and they've all pretty much everyone has said yes. Did you have more you wanted to cover, or is that what you had?
Okay. No, what I want, because it's not. I want to show you guys because I know that we are ready to pass my time, but I want to show you something else. Yeah, but let
So
me
yeah,
show
what I'll
you
do is
this
while I'm
project.
talking, is I'll just prompt people if you have questions. Now would be a good time, and if you can try and keep your next segment to maybe 5 minutes, and then we'll have some time for
I'll do
questions.
that. That's perfect. That's perfect. What I
Okay.
want to show you guys is just is. Well, do you want to jump in first or not? Or can I go?
No, you go.
Okay, so what I want you talk a little bit about is the enterprise version, which is it's super excited for us. But we are happy to have a version that's going to be target to the business and to companies that are trying to push Wakanda even further. So um, in this, and I'm here also to encourage you to try the enterprise version, to download and try to work a little bit with the what we are giving for the first for this beta version, which is basically connectors to other databases. Um, we will release very soon, and that's what you are seeing right now is a demo that is hosted on Amazon. We're going to be delivering very soon a demo that works with my MySQL. Okay, and this demo is quite interesting. It has some tables in the MySQL database, and it has the project. It's a project planner, so it has all the managers and the employees and the skills. We're going to go in. You're going to see really quick, but all that and the MySQL, and you have the project itself on Wakanda. And the interesting thing is, like, we're building the business logic completely on the server side with Wakanda. Okay, so just to give you an idea, if I connect as a manager, as a director, you have three levels of connection. So you can define projects, and you can assign people to projects. Um, the manager information and the members are all stored in the MySQL. And if, for example, if I want to add a new project, I can just type my new project here. I define a manager, which is very important for us. Well, let's say hello. I define a budget. It's not important right now, so I'm just gonna go in, or maybe it is. And as you can just start to pick up skills and bring these skills. These skills are also in the MySQL database. So I'm right now connecting two completely different databases with a whole business logic written in the elegance of the server side of Wakanda in a pretty flawless way. So it starts at 31st and ends I don't know there, and I create my project. Well, I have a new project here. Then I can give to that manager. I can connect like that manager. Let me log out. I don't even remember which one, but I hope Alain. Oh, good, I remember. I have a login with that one, so he has two projects. The one that I just created, and the new project is there. So, and he can just add some members, or, oh no, that's the other project, the new project. There's no members yet, so I can assign resources. So it's just to give an idea that we are going to provide you a very nice demo for you to understand how we are connecting to other databases. This project was done in a very nice way, where I have a shared worker that does the connection and stays alive, so I don't need to reconnect every time. I just ask the share worker, give me that information, and he gives me the information. The whole code, the whole demo will be available for you in our website very soon. I think that's what I'm saying. Very soon is like as soon as we release probably Wakanda 8 for stabilization. Also, I want to just to finish, I'd love to mention something that Greg told at the beginning, that the community is feeling that the Wakanda 7 is way more stable. We're in a different cycle of development. As you know, we try hard to get a better product, and right now we're in a cycle where it happened already for the third time in a row that as soon as we release a version, few days after, and a week to 2 weeks after, we release the next version as well. We release the next version of beta test environment, and I'm gonna ask you guys to don't fear to get that version. Put in a separate folder for you, and just try it, because your feedback in the upcoming stabilization channel. I'm not talking about the development. Development channel is something else, something that's really let's say crazy, because in Wakanda every day you are allowed to know what we are working on it. So we release every day a development version that's completely unstable. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the stabilization channel for the next version. That one is very important because we already cut the branch. We already know what we're going to deliver, and we need your help to test and to make it even better. Okay, so this is my final appeal, Greg, and then we are gonna I give it back to you. So I guess I'm done.
Okay, awesome, Ricardo. Ton of great information there. I'm going to switch it over to my screen while we do the questions. But just in let me just do that quickly. Okay, so we should have my screen up there.
Should I change the screen to you, or have you done that?
I think I've got it.
Perfect.
Maybe someone can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it's on my screen. So,
all right.
Really awesome stuff. Much of it's the first I've seen. The widget extension, really slick. Had a couple questions there. For instance, someone asking, is the team verifying those widgets? And I suggested maybe, have we talked about anything along the lines of ratings or sorting by author or any of these types of organizational things?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is the first draft. That's why I mentioned that is not yet. We're going to release this extension to be available for the community to start to use, but it's not planned yet for Wakanda 8. Huh? Yep. Let's be clear. This is for Wakanda 9. So, and we are planning. I didn't show you guys, but I had a widget right now that do ratings, that do ratings. Yeah, we could imagine to use that widget even to create our own station. But yes, we are planning to add much more features about that. Actually, what we would like, there is a website right now that makes the proxy to make that connection really interesting. That's going to be counting how many times a widget was downloaded, and we already planned to put ratings. We have we already planned also. We have in mind as well that if the widget is not there, but you know the GitHub address of a widget, you would just type there, and you download and install for you as well. So you don't need to go to the host. If you know the address, you would install in the same ways. So yes, we're starting to get very excited about this, because this kind of makes the whole cycle really easy and really flawless. So yeah,
great.
Please, it will be available for you in the forum. Give us feedback.
Yep. So you also went through integrating third-party widgets. That was really interesting. Just wondering, has your team identified any characteristics of libraries that make them more likely for an easier integration? For instance, you take some are based on jQuery. Does that make it more likely they'll work? Pure JavaScript. Are there any things to avoid and things to look for?
Yes. Yes, I would like to address that in the forum in a way that we give our impression. In theory, you could adapt every single one, but some are a little harder than others. For example, JQX widgets it was pretty easy. You know, I worked with Widmo, was quite easy as well. So we tried also Dojo. It had some little quirky things that we need to do. And then what we were thinking is that for some libraries, but uh, I'm going to be very careful here because it's not our goal to provide every single library the easiest way. Okay, so we want to give core functionality so the community can attack. But we are thinking about even making the connection easier, like putting some behaviors, because as I mentioned, all the widgets now are based on behaviors. Not exactly behaviors, but we're thinking about to have like connectors that can facilitate your to, for example, the Essential library or what is another big one? Tell me, Greg. So
Widmo or
Widmo is really easy to add, so
Kendo,
we have no
ZZ,
problem.
right?
Kendo is easy, yeah. So it's there is some work there, there is some work there, but people need to realize as well that Wakanda, what we are going to be very concerned, and we're gonna make two or more than two, but the two widgets that concern me more at this point, they are matrix and the grid. Okay, we want to do a matrix and a grid that are going to be like an example. That's where we want to put all our focus. Okay, because those widgets are kind of core, and we believe that our library needs to have something very strong in that area. Okay, so we want to do that in the same with the same elegance that you were seeing, and the difference now, and that's a big difference from what we are doing, is that there's no difference from our widgets to your widget. Okay, it's the same thing. We are using the same architecture. We are in the same system, the package system. We are using the same thing. Okay, so in that way, it's going to be a very strong example to the community because that widget's going to be like free. So you can just even get our super widget that we're going to do about matrix and grid and even make it better, because it will be just a matter of you adapting some things and understanding the code. You see, when you see at the end our combo box that we just did, it was like 30 lines of code.
Yeah. So let's 40. Crank through a few more of these questions. Right. Got a questions about enterprise, one about pricing. I'd love to have a solid answer for you. We don't at this point. I anticipate we will have an announcement soon on that, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for that. But the other question they've got on enterprise, Ricardo, is additional connectors. Are you seeing anything specifically ODBC,
ODBC
Postgres?
is coming. Oh, yeah. So yes. ODBC is coming. It's coming soon.
Okay.
ODBC is coming soon. I would say for sure this year, for sure.
Yeah.
It's already on test, so it's going to be for sure in the next upcoming versions.
Okay. So let's talk a little more. We've got.
Oh, I didn't mention that. You mentioned it at the beginning. We have also PhoneGap coming this year. So we work quite well on PhoneGap right now. So we builds up the Wakanda project really nicely and imports every single image. It does every single page, and it's starting to become very nice. And it's for this year as well, and is in test right now. So we're very excited about that one.
Okay, good. We had a lot of questions about training, and a couple people asking what are some good resources for learning JavaScript. First one I'd mention is the free training that we have in our Wakanda store right now. There is a section there covering the basics of JavaScript, but of course, you've got all your typical sources. There's a bazillion books and these types of things, lynda.com or Pluralsight or NetTuts or any of these. So we will have announcements on training very soon, so keep your ears to the ground on that. Let's see what else we've got here. I've got a ton of questions, so I apologize I won't be able to get through them all. People wondering, I think you covered it, but specifically, will we have time frames on specific widgets?
But listen, I have. It's very hard for me to say, but Laurent Ribardière, which is our our the main developer president, he just told me that this year I had to have all the widgets. So I'm going to do all the widgets this year.
There you go.
So and I'm going to count with the community as well to contribute with some extra widgets. I'm not talking about the basic widgets, but the extra widgets, because that makes the reach as well. You know, a barcode. We did a training yesterday inside the company. Someone did something that you can do your signature with some third parts widget that can be imported to a mobile, and the person sign and saves in the Wakanda database. So there's so many examples. That what people need to understand right now, that we created a way that's very, very intuitive for people to connect those libraries to data. That's a key part of our philosophy. And if you look around, the amount of JavaScript libraries popping up everywhere that need that, it's quite astonishing.
Okay, great. Well, I apologize to everyone that I wasn't able to answer questions. We're quite a bit over time, so we're going to wrap it up. What I invite you to do, bring your questions to the forum. We're always there. Ricardo, make me a promise that you'll be there for the next day or two, a little bit more than usual. And
Okay.
I'd invite everyone to go there, bring your questions. We'd love to continue the conversation. Also, when this webinar is completed, there will be a survey that comes out. It's nothing too heavy, but anytime we send out a survey, we really appreciate feedback, because it's the only way that we can really get sort of standardized data about what you're looking for, what interests you, and it helps us to really guide the product. So if you do see a plea for a survey, that's really what we're looking for, is we want to improve the product and improve the experience. And all the more feedback we get, the better decisions we can make. So Ricardo, really appreciate you being here. I can tell based on the reaction from people, people are very excited about what you showed. And like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a great year for Wakanda. There's a ton of momentum, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what I know is coming down the pipe this year. So we'll wrap it up with that, and have a great day, everyone, and we'll get this recording up soon.
Hi, Greg. Thank you so much, and it was great to spend my birthday with you guys.
Perfect. Have a great day.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.